right, hello everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you to Michigan House for having us, and thank you for you all for coming. This is the Lip Bars challenging the status quo in beauty and in fashion, but we're going to mostly focus on beauty today. And I wanted us to have this conversation simply because we're seeing an uprising with women everywhere. So it's like we're reclaiming our time, we're reclaiming our bodies, and we're reclaiming what it means to be a woman in general. Because, let's face it, for years women have been told how to think, what we should look like, how we should act, and most of that has come from people who aren't women to say oh, you should do these certain things. And over time, I've developed a strong dislike for the word should, because it's why? And so when I started the Lip Bar, it was really because I started questioning a lot of whys. Why is the beauty industry not diverse at all? Why does everyone look at beauty in a very linear light? Why do we think that you need to conform or transform who you are in order to be beautiful? So I always tell people that I didn't start the Lip Bar because I was passionate about makeup. It's quite the contrary. I actually don't even wear makeup that often. I wear lipstick all the time, but I started the Lip Bar because I really wanted to challenge what people thought about beauty within themselves, but also just the way you think about beauty for your neighbor, your coworker, the woman you see walking down the street. So I started the company in 2012, making lipstick in my kitchen with this idea that beauty shouldn't compromise health, that beauty should be self-expressive, that it should be diverse, and frankly, it should be whatever the hell you want it to be, And so I just wanted to start off by giving you guys a brief introduction of my story and why this conversation is so important to me. And then I'm gonna allow you guys to just briefly tell your story, and then we're gonna get right into it.
First? Oh my goodness. Okay, so hi everybody. My name's Jackie Johnson, and I live in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and I went to University of Texas here in Austin, so I'm home for a little trip. So I have a podcast called Natch, Beaut, and when you're in LA and you're a comedian, everybody's got a dang podcast, But I was trying to think of a fun angle, and I love makeup, and I love products, and my counter is just covered. I love skincare, and I was thinking, I bet that would be fun on a podcast, And a lot of people thought that was crazy because they're like, you can't see anything. It's not YouTube where you can see, but it's been working. So Natch Beaut's doing great. I'm actually doing a show here at South by on their stage on Wednesday, and so I'm just combining comedy and beauty, kind of taking the intimidation out. Because for me, it's what do? We watch YouTube, we see these images on Instagram that are heavily face-tuned. We're like, how do I look like that? You don't have to look like that. Do what you want, wear what you want,
right.
Play, have fun. And so my podcast kind of takes the seriousness and intimidation out of beauty and makes it kind of fun and approachable and funny.
Cool, love that.
And FabFitFun sponsors Natch Beaut. Use code Natch.
See,
Use code Natch for $10 off.
Love it. My name is Katie Kitchens. I am the co-founder of FabFitFun. We are a lifestyle membership best known for our subscription boxes. We have a really unique history. We actually started as an online magazine where we were writing about everything women need to feel good from the inside out. And we realized that we were writing about all of these incredible products. Wouldn't it be even cooler to actually put them into people's hands? And at the time, there were some other subscription boxes on the market, Ipsy and Birchbox, who we really love, but for me, as a lifestyle editor, I loved getting products in the mail, I loved trying new things, but I'm also really cheap. So the idea of paying for samples when I could go get them for free at Sephora was really challenging. So we decided to launch the FabFitFun box and do it a little differently. So we are across all lifestyle channels: beauty, fashion, fitness, wellness, home, and tech. Everything is full size, and we are seasonal, so it comes to your door 4 times a year. We also really think of ourselves as a membership and not a subscription box. So you get a ton of extra perks when you become a FabFitFun member. You get access to FabFitFun TV. We do a ton of flash sales. And, really excited to be here today. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. And I just want to say, I love your voice. You have the perfect podcast voice. But I also want to say thank you, Melissa, for having me here today. My name is Monique Rodriguez, and I am the owner and CEO of Mielle Organics. The pink bags that you guys have at your chairs today is my company. And I'm happy to be here because talking about beauty and women is something that I'm really passionate about, which is the reason why I have a beauty company, because beauty and hair has always been my passion. My background is actually in nursing. I was a registered nurse for 8 years before I actually started my company, and we are going on our 4-year anniversary this upcoming May, so whoop whoop. 4 years in business, hasn't been easy. So we sell natural and certified organic hair products, and like I told you guys, beauty is just a passion of mine. I wanted to be able to educate women on how to take care of their hair, how to grow their hair, and just to be healthier overall, because we have to know that it's not only what we eat, but also what we put on our bodies that's important. And I wanted to be able to help educate women on the importance of the ingredients and offer them a product that they can use that's effective for multicultural hair texture, aka curly texture, because that's when you have curly hair, it's really hard to find products that actually work. So I wanted to be able to create something that was healthy, affordable, and actually effective for our hair texture.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you guys so much for coming. I thought of you guys and was like, okay, they're each going to be able to add so much value from many different perspectives. So I'm just going to jump right in and just ask you guys questions, and we're going to just start with Monique. What does beauty mean to you?
So beauty to me, and I know that it sounds really cliche, but to me it's like your spirit, how you are on the inside. Because you can have a pretty face and you can be beautiful on the outside, but if you are ugly on the inside, that means everything to me. And even when I meet people, I'm attracted to energy. I really vibe off of people's energy, no matter how they look. So I don't necessarily think that beauty is an outside thing that I look for. I look and I'm attracted to your energy. And I'll give you guys an example. I was working with, because we work with a lot of celebrities that endorse our products, I was able to meet one of the ladies that was working with us, and beautiful young lady, and I'm not going to say her name, but very beautiful.
Will you tell me after?
I sure will. But beautiful, pictures on Instagram, and you're like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I met this girl in person, and she had the most hideous, ugliest attitude. And we were getting ready to sign an endorsement deal with her. But the way she portrayed herself when I met her, we quickly pulled that deal right away. Because at that point, what, I loved about you, what I thought I loved about you, and thought, how beautiful you are, and thinking that how you portray yourself on social media, and to see that that's not really who you are, and that you have the ugliest attitude, it diminishes everything. So to me, like I said, beauty is how you are on the inside. It radiates to people on the outside.
Got it. I find that I'm always attracted to people based on their personality. So I find people who are hilarious, I'm like, they're just dreamy. And so you're absolutely right in that, and I think that that's human nature, to be attracted to someone based on how they treat you or how you perceive them in the world. Do you ladies have anything to add to that?
No, I agree. I think so much of it has to do with attitude. I think also it has to do with confidence. And personally, I feel the most confident when I am happy and at ease. And I think, when I look at pictures of myself, when I'm with my kids and when I'm with my family, that's when I personally feel beautiful and, at home and really, who I am. And I think that is so important when we're talking about what's beautiful.
It's so funny that you mentioned the picture thing, because I think for the last, 15 years, I've been on a diet. So I will look at pictures of myself from 2 years ago, well, why was I on a diet then? Oh, yeah. I need to be on, do y'all relate to that? I'm constantly trying to achieve something. It's like this inner voice that's saying, hey, Melissa, you're not enough. And it's such a problem within like the beauty industry and within just social media in general. It's like this constant need to do more, to be more, to look more, and show up in different ways. So how do you guys combat that idea?
Unfollow. Listen, as women, we've been told our whole lives to compare ourselves to other people. We see these, I used to go through like old YM magazines on my podcast. They're insane. It's insane what we were told as teenagers. You know, what to buy. You don't want to be smelly, so buy this cream. Or you don't want to be hairy, so be hairy, be smelly, do what you want. But we're so inundated with images constantly, and if somebody's making you uncomfortable, just unfollow them. We don't need that. Don't feel bad about it. Unapologetically unfollow, okay? Stay in your lane, wake up every day, look at yourself, and be happy with who you are. You can work on things, but just stop comparing yourself to everybody, because we're never gonna look like them. They're face tuning. They're all face tuning. If you don't know what Facetune is, it's an app, and you can turn anybody into anybody with it. It is crazy. And people, I Facetune a little, but I don't go too hard with it.
Well,
it's fine.
It's true. Look, social media is a funny thing, and I think, at its worst, when you are looking at Instagram, it's also any filter is going to add or take away years from your life. And you're not posting every picture. My Instagram pictures don't show my disgustingly messy kitchen after I've cooked dinner, right? Yep. It's the beautiful presentation for those 5 minutes when my kitchen is actually not a mess. Doesn't happen very often. But I think, one of the positive pieces of, social media is that it has changed a little bit of what we think of as beautiful, right? I think when I was a kid, 20 years ago, and you were looking at these glossy magazines, every cover model looked exactly the same. And with the rise of so many influencers, at least we're getting a much more diverse vision of what beauty actually is. And that can be ethnicity and size and age. And I think there's something wonderful about being able to, see yourself in these new influencers that I don't think you were able to do 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, have you guys had to basically overcome any insecurities related to like what you perceived as from your childhood beauty?
Yeah, I'll talk to that just because, you mentioned diet. And what a lot of people don't realize is that like skinny people have like insecurities too, and we have issues, and I know I've dealt with it myself. Like, I used to drink like Ensure to try to gain weight, because when I grew up, it was like, the thicker girls that were like classified as being beautiful, or they had like, bigger booties, and I wanted a big butt, but I didn't get blessed with a big butt. So like I tried to just, I dealt with that as a teenager growing up until I just learned to like accept myself for like who I am. Like He didn't bless me to have a big butt, because that's just not what he blessed me with. But he blessed me with so much more that I have, and I don't need to use my big butt to be successful in life anyway. I need a brain.
Right.
You can always Facetune a big butt.
So, but I think that me personally, that was my insecurity growing up, was just the fact that I'm just thin, and I just had to learn like I'm thin, like it's just in my genetics. Like no matter what I do, no matter like how much I eat, I'm just not gonna gain any weight. And until I learned to accept that about myself, and now I'm like okay with being thin, and it's not an issue. I no longer drink Ensure trying to gain weight. I'm happy with who I am.
But how did you reach that level of happiness? Like, was there a certain turning point in your life where you were just like, you know what, this is it?
And I'm sorry, what's your name again? To Katie's point, the diversity in beauty. Now they have so many different models out here and influencers from, all the way from stick thin to, a little thick. And just to see that diversity and to look at other women that are thin like me and, still are beautiful and still, they dress very well because, I used to have an issue with finding clothes to fit me. So just looking at the diversity and how beauty has changed has helped me look at other women and say, oh, well, they're beautiful. So like it's more, I can accept my thinness better because it's not the norm to be thick. Like I learned that's not the norm or the standard of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Like beautiful comes in like all different shapes and sizes.
What about you ladies?
So, it's funny. I think for me, some of it just came with age, right? At some point, I don't have time to think about that shit, and I just need to keep going. Mm-hmm. I have 2 babies. I'm running a company. There's only so much I can handle in a day. And it does, it is sort of a weight lifted off of your shoulders when you realize, like, all right, I'm never going to be perfect, and that is okay. And I do think, if you look sometimes the differences between the way, men and women are raised, men are told, like, you need to be aggressive, jump off of that tree, kick ass in football, do whatever it takes to get to the next step. And women are taught to be perfect and be cautious and be responsible. And, if we are constantly seeking perfection, we are constantly going to fail. And, I don't think that there is a world in which we can be perfect all the time. And in fact, many of the best lessons that I've learned in life is from some kind of failure. And without that, I don't think you're able to grow.
Absolutely. Speaking of perfection, I feel like, and bringing this full circle to talking about social media portrays this like constant idea of excellence and perfection, and there's that old adage of beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Do you believe that it's true, that it's in the eyes of the beholder, or is it in the eyes of the influencer or the trendsetter or whoever the latest it girl is, and how do we navigate that?
Deep question, That cut me deep.
Well, I do. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that these trends will continue to exist, but, we all have different preferences, and, what we believe is beautiful is not identical, despite what social media or magazines or TV or movies tell us. That's not the reality, you know? So I think we need to embrace that.
Yeah, I'm consistently questioning things like internally. So I've wanted to cut my hair for about 2 years, but I'm actually scared to cut my hair. My friend in the back, Brandy, she can attest to that. I've literally flirted with this idea, but I'm afraid to cut my hair because I'm afraid of not having this beauty that I'm such attached to. Because growing up in Detroit, the beauty standard was you want to be light-skinned with long hair, and that equals beauty. And so somewhere deep within me, I still have that conditioning on this is what beauty means to me. And then externally, I'm like, oh, I can't cut my hair because what am I gonna look like, or how am I gonna do my hair? This is all that I know, etc. So are there any regional beauty constructs that you guys have experienced?
I mean, I don't know, being from Los Angeles, I think we kind of know what that means. And especially when I was younger, it really was, thin, big boobs, blonde hair, tan skin. God knows I used to pile on the self-tanner as a child. Luckily, that is a phase that I've passed through, sort of. But I also think that's changed. I don't think it feels quite as narrow today as it used to.
Even though everyone is doing their makeup the exact same?
Fair.
We had a whole generation of people doing the exact same contour, the exact same eyebrows, like even the exact same lip color.
Well, it's interesting. I do think with the rise of, certain new beauty brands, for example, like, Glossier, we're not seeing quite as much of the matte lip as we saw. Literally, that was all that we saw, right? And you could not escape it.
Literally.
And every single new lip was however long lasting you could make it. And hopefully as these, newer brands, come into the picture and we explore, not everything has to look the same. We feel that we can try these new trends and not sort of stick with the status quo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to your point, like when everybody's wearing their makeup the exact same, like you have to think like, where does the trend come from? And you know, if
Kim
I can be
Kardashian.
honest, what'd you say?
Kim Kardashian. She
Yeah,
creates literally all the beauty
I was just
trends.
gonna say, like, if I can be honest, the Kardashians are the ones that really, I feel like they set beauty trends. And is that a good thing? I don't know, because like I was on social media yesterday, and like, okay, I'm gonna just have a real conversation. I'm just tell you everything.
Please.
So I was on social media, and I tapped on, you know, Khloe Kardashian. She had her baby shower, and I saw that Kim Zolciak from The Real Housewives of Atlanta was there. And when I was looking at their picture, and I immediately thought in my head, like, Kim Zolciak is really trying hard to be like the Kardashians. And it's like, and that is also being influenced on her daughter, Brielle, because now, like, Brielle was a very cute girl, like, growing up, because I'm a Housewives fan. So I've been watching them for so long. And to me, it was kind of like hurtful, like, this cute little girl, like her lips are like super injected. She has these big boobs, and Kim, she's like totally distorted her face. You know, even like the Kim Kardashians, their mom, she continues to put plastic surgery on her face until at some point you start looking like the ventriloquist dolls, because they use so much Botox and stuff like that. But it's like becoming a norm for young girls to look at them and to say, well, I want to get lip injections, or I want to get my nose done. And even in like our culture, the African American culture, it wasn't like as prevalent to get like nose jobs. But now that the trend is becoming, you know, getting the nose jobs, to have your nose become more smaller and I guess more pointed, you know, I'm starting to see a lot of African American women getting their nose done, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on with our society? And it's like they set the trends, and everybody wants to conform and be like them, but that's not the standard of beauty. Like you said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is how you feel on the inside. Like I'm just like really upset to the point where it just like bothers me. So that's why I'm glad we're having this discussion today, because that is not normal. Getting plastic surgery on your face 10 and 20 times is not normal.
So you have 2 daughters. Everyone's like, wait, let's pause for that. We can take a pause.
I've only had
clap.
7 nose jobs. Is that okay?
And here's the thing, I am not against plastic surgery. So don't think that I'm bashing people that get plastic surgery. However, I'm against, like, you know, if you're getting it because you don't feel good about yourself. Like, if you have an issue and you need to get that fixed, that's fine. But if you continue to do it over and over again, it's something wrong in the inside that you need to figure out what's going on down here.
Yeah.
And understand why don't you feel good about yourself.
It's that chasing perfection.
Yeah, right. You're chasing perfection, and that's not going to happen.
But again, that's because, you know, what people post on social is not their real life, right?
Social media is not reality.
No, it's like the 1 second of your life after you've taken 89 pictures and you find that one that you don't feel like you look ugly in, and you decide to then filter that 6 times and post that, and that's sort of what you're proud of. And I do think it was part of the reason why Snap became really popular for a second, because it felt a little bit more normalized, and you weren't spending as much time to perfect that one image. And I think we got a little of that in Insta Story as well, but
now you can put a damn bunny filter over yourself and smooth it all out, put
smooths out
ears
your whole
on,
thing,
you know.
yeah.
I've even seen girls that they have gotten their nose done to look like how they will look with the Snapchat filter, you know.
Well, there's a thread that people don't understand why they don't look like how they look in their filters, right? Like, if this is how you're looking at yourself all of the time, and they're looking at themselves through these social media lenses, when they take that away, suddenly they feel less than.
I mean, I understand that. You know, iPhones make your nose 30% bigger. That's a fact. Yeah. It's a wide angle lens. Google it. Because I never had a problem with my nose. In the past couple years, I've been like, jeez, big ass nose. But it's the iPhone. Facetune.
So Monique and Katie, you both have children. How do you basically give them the knowledge and the tools that they need to navigate this idea of perfection in this social media centric society?
Well, number one, I don't let my girls have social media right now anyway. number one, they're too young. They're 8 and 12. My 12-year-old, she's old enough to understand, but I still don't let her have a social media yet. But I really try to tell my girls that, just be happy with what God has blessed you with. And, I've told my girls ever since they were little that, you're beautiful. I've always instilled that in them so they can grow up thinking that I'm beautiful. And I tell them, like, don't let anyone make you feel like you're inferior or that you're less than. So I've started doing that at a very young age. And my 8-year-old, and I also try to expose them to, like, different shades and tones of beauty, not just me, because I'm their mom, so I'm the first person they look at. And I noticed that my youngest daughter, she's 8, she always tells me, which is good, it makes me feel good. She's like, oh, Mommy, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. I want my hair like you, Mommy. And I have to tell her, like, no, your hair's not like Mommy's. Your hair is curly. Like, be happy with what you have. And if I straighten my hair, she wants her hair straight. And I just try to let her know that, if you straighten your hair will get damaged eventually. So just be happy and embrace your natural curls. And, I just try to continue to instill in them every single day, like, you're beautiful just the way you are. Don't try to conform. Don't let anyone change you. Just because of how you see someone else at school, they look, doesn't mean that you have to look that same way. Like, God, He all put us here with our own unique individual gifts and talents, and He didn't put us here to all look alike.
Yeah.
So I love that. I'm going to take that and instill that into my life. My girls are still really young. They're 2 and 4. But I think, for me, it's a really interesting dichotomy because, my 4-year-old is, like, obsessed with Disney princesses. I mean, and it's the long hair, it's the pink dresses, it's the tiara, it's every stereotype that I grew up with. And, it's a little scary, right? Because I want her to, be able to enjoy Disney and enjoy sort of all of these movies that, I still love and are dear to my heart, but that it's not the end-all be-all, right? Mm-hmm. Because some of that messaging, especially in the older films, it is just a pretty girl and how she finds her husband, how she finds her prince, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm lucky because, we are trying to instill this idea of being well-rounded, right? So she may have on her, pink princess dress, but she's also playing soccer in it, right? And it's dirty and it's ragged, and she may love that princess dress to death, and she's never taking it off. But that's not the only thing that hopefully that she cares about. But it's hard, especially I see them. And, now that they have started to, watch TV and all of these things, and you can feel this message just coming in.
Yeah.
And it's a force that you can't really change. But I do think you have to keep it going from home, right? And, she does hopefully see me as a working mom. And, my favorite thing is when you ask her what she wants to be, her answer is a boss. And I will take that as a sign that she's learning from her mom.
Perfect.
I decided to raise dogs in lieu of children.
I actually wanted to ask you a question, Jackie, because when I was doing a little bit of research, I read that having red hair is a bit of an anomaly. I think it said only
It's a gene mutation.
I read that I think it said only 2% of the adult population has red hair. And then it got me into this rabbit hole of people talking about their insecurity surrounding having red hair. But immediately when I saw you, I thought oh wait, her hair is beautiful, and I love how she accents it with her lipstick all the time. That was my immediate thought. And so I wanted to touch on if you've ever had any insecurities surrounding your red hair, or just how you've decided to own it.
You have no idea what this means. So I am a bottled redhead. I've been coloring my hair for 20 years. This means the world to me that you thought I was a real redhead enough to ask me this question. It's literally my goal. It's my heart literally soared out during that. I was oh my God, I'm real. I became a real girl. So
So you've been coloring your hair red for 20 years?
Yes.
Why? We need answers.
I believe that God made a mistake. I was supposed to have red hair. I think it was The Little Mermaid. When I saw Ariel swirling up, I'm for real, swirling up part of your world like swirling up. I was like, it me. I was like, it me. I was like, I need that hair color. So I started telling my mom, I did pageants and stuff, that's a whole other conversation. But I was like, Mom, I need red hair. So she kept saying no. So I started doing sun-in one summer, and so my dark brown hair started becoming kind of like brassy. And then my mom was like, fine, I guess we can fix it and color it or whatever. It was sort of like Angela Chase, if y'all have seen My So-Called Life, like the pilot, she dyes her hair red. It was like, that was me. I was 13, and I was like, yes, I'm finally who I'm supposed to be. So I don't know, it was just something I knew I wanted to be, and I feel as though I am a redhead. And so that, again, great question.
How often do you color your hair?
Well, I do it less now. I've started to, because my hair is so dark that I used to, I've been all kinds of reds and coppers, and I try to look natural, like I try to pass, you know. And so I color it now. Last time I did it was September, and I just did it. So I'm trying to do it less and less. I use this root spray to cover the grays. The grays are coming for me. The grays are coming.
I have
for
grays
me.
too. Do you see?
Yeah, I do. They're beautiful.
Thank
They're
you.
sparkles.
I'm struggling,
They're
guys.
sparkles.
I'm really struggling with gray hair.
See, you know what's crazy is that they start going gray. Like, I thought it was just grays will start growing in, but they will turn gray. A full hair will turn gray.
Yeah.
They come for you. Mine are coming. That's a good FabFitFun thing. Someone can cover up them grays. We'll talk. P.S. Did you not get our red shoe email?
I know, I feel very left out today. I did not know what
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So at Pinterest, they like encourage everyone to wear red sneakers.
Yeah.
Apparently, like
Yeah.
this is also
It's a
the
power
same
shoe.
trend.
It's a
Yeah.
power move. Yes. But
I'm sorry, Katie.
I think every person has something about them that is unique, and it's most likely what they were made fun of about when they were a kid. For me, it was deep voice and like long, skinny arms, right? I have very long arms and big hands. It's fine. So, but now that's what people say when they're like, Jackie Johnson, she's got that deep voice and she's tall. You know, it's like, that's what makes me special. So if it's red hair, if it's a deep voice, if it's anything about you, it makes you who you are, it individualizes you, and you probably hate it when you're young, but as you mature, as we all mature, like fine Chiantis, we slowly start to love those things about ourselves.
Yeah. When I grew up, I've always had an issue with my legs. I always thought that my legs were too big. And so when I said I've been on a diet for 15 years, I literally meant it. And I think that's the norm for most women because we're constantly, again, chasing perfection. And then I read that like 53% of girls are unhappy with their weight and their bodies by the time they're 17. But then by the time they're in their 30s, it's 78%. So how does FabFitFun like use that in its model and the way you guys do business?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I think it's very true. You know, I remember being in high school and taking as many diet pills as I possibly could to achieve a certain body type that I thought I was supposed to have. And, you know, as you age, you know, it doesn't get any easier. Your metabolism slows down. You become even more limited with your time. And, you know, for me, you know, getting to the gym is a luxury, rather something that, you know that I can do every day. But, you know, for us at FabFitFun, you know, we really try and make sure that in everything we do, whether it's our editorial, our photography, our marketing, that we are being as inclusive as possible because we want our members to see themselves in everything that we create. And it's really changed. I mean, we started as an online magazine. You know, we launched with 2,000 boxes. And at the time, you know, because they came from the website, they sort of knew who I was. They were very much, you know, my demo. And I could pick 8 products, and that would resonate with our women. You know, now that we're curating boxes for, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, it's a much more diverse group of women, and we want to make sure that they feel included in everything we do. And again, I mean, it's body type, but it's also age, ethnicity, sort of everything across the board. And we haven't quite nailed gender yet because we are 100% women, but it is on the agenda. And I do think, look, part of it is aspirational. You know, we believe in leading a healthy lifestyle. That is something that is important. It boosts confidence. We know that exercise, creates endorphins, and that's really important. But we also think there is a limitation, and we're not trying to preach perfection. And it's all about just really being your best self, not your perfect self.
Yeah. I would love each of you to tell us when you think you're most beautiful.
I would say I'm most beautiful at nighttime. Like, are you talking about like
In general.
in general? At
Whatever comes
nighttime,
to mind.
when I take off my makeup and I put my hair in a bun and I do my little skincare regimen and then I have a nice fresh face, like that's when I feel like the most beautiful, because I'm like, I love just freshness and just having a fresh face after you've worn your makeup all day and you just have that glow. Like, that's to me when I feel the most beautiful, when I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Okay.
I mean, I do think a lot has to do with happiness. I think that when I'm smiling, that's when I look my best, but also just when I feel my best, right? So whether that's when I'm with my kids or my husband, or I've accomplished something big at work, you see that sort of inner beauty come within when you are feeling good about yourself and what you've accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love when I'm fully glammed up. I'm like, I look cute. But I also like right out of the shower, fresh skin, I put my serum on, and if the sun is shining. I'm a weather, if it's raining, I'm grumpy. If it's sunny, I'm happy. I love a good sunny moment, so I'm happy when the world is happy, I guess.
I think I feel the most beautiful actually after I work out, because I immediately, I'm the person who thinks of strength as beautiful. And so whenever I work out, I get that endorphin release, and I'm all sweaty and my cheeks are a little bit more red, but I feel stronger and I feel like I did something good for my body. So I feel most beautiful in that moment. So I think it does boil down to feeling good about yourself. Because as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you guys can all relate, we don't really take that great of care of ourselves. Like, we're working really hard pretty consistently. And so taking those small moments out of your day to say, like, I deserve this is what I'm doing for myself, for my body, for my mental health, my mental stability, that's like one of my go-to things. Like, okay, Melissa, we're doing this. And speaking of which, I would just love to hear from you guys on like your self-care or your beauty regimens, products you feel like you live and die by.
I'll start.
I don't know why we keep making you go
I know,
first.
they keep looking at me like I'm pressure. Peer
We both
pressure.
have to train over. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Self-care.
Self-care, okay, yeah. So yeah, self-care is like a major priority to me. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, I'm busy, but I take time, like I make it a priority to make sure that I take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I'm also a wife, I'm a mother. If mama's not happy, then ain't nobody in the house happy. So self-care is so important. So I make sure that I've developed a routine. I'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning before anyone else in the house wakes up, because I need that time, that quiet time to think and to gather my thoughts and to meditate, so I can have a clear head for the day. I do take time. I try to work out at least 2 to 3 times a week, and I work out just to, relieve stress and to get those endorphins and to feel good about myself. And I try to also make sure that I do a massage every month. I'm always getting my nails and my manicures and pedicures. I can't talk. Manicures and pedicures, I do that every 2 weeks. So I have a routine of self-care that I do, because it's so important to me. If you guys don't look at my fingers, because this note chip fell off. I'm gonna go back to the shop. So, FYI. But like, to me, just because I'm a real girly girl, and I really think that, girls should get their hair done. They should get their nails done. You should wear makeup every now and then, because I'm seriously a girly girl. But beauty products, my beauty regimen obviously is Mielle Organics, the hair products that you guys have in your bags. And taking care of my hair is so important, because I feel that, when people notice you, the first thing that they do notice is your hair and your skin. And I think that, you always should be presentable everywhere that you go. Your hair should be tame, your skin should look good. So I'm just big on that, just maintenance anyway. So of course my favorite beauty products is Mielle hair care, and then we also have a skincare line that we just launched on Black Friday that I do on a daily basis. We have a serum that I use on an everyday basis. We have a facial scrub that I use in the morning, and I use it again at night if I wore makeup, and I just take my makeup off with our facial scrub. We also have a activated charcoal mask made with pomegranate and honey ingredients. That is, I use that.
I'm gonna have to try some of this.
Oh yeah, you definitely gotta try some. Yeah, I'll get you some.
Okay.
But I use that weekly to help remove toxins and to keep my pores clean. And we have a SPF lotion with SPF 15 because, you know, we need our SPF. We don't want to have wrinkles early. So that's basically my skincare regimen. And, you know, I have a full hair care regimen, and I just encourage you guys to follow me on my personal page, Exquisite Mo, and Mielle Organics, because I'm always talking about, like, my hair care and skincare regimens.
So for me, a lot of it is about time management. I think, you know, personally, I find myself having less and less time as I get older. And, you know, I do think it's incredibly important to, you know, still find that time for yourself. And the way that I do it is I definitely take advantage of, you know, several different kind of apps. Give a little, you know, shout out to Glam Squad, who is at my house once a week, giving me a blowout that really gets me through many of my work days, which is pretty awesome. And look, I think, you know, that's part of the reason why we started FabFitFun as well. You know, we all know how much time we can spend in a rabbit hole going down Amazon looking for products, and, you know, personally, you know, going to the mall and trying to find new, you know, beauty products with 2 little babies in tow is no longer fun for me. So we know that women are spending less time on their own self-care and happiness, and by delivering, you know, a box full of new goodies to try every new season is a way to really pamper yourself without spending a lot of time or many each season. And just, you know, some of my personal recent favorites, I would say, there is a brand called DP Hue, and they do a apple cider hair vinegar rinse, which is literally life-changing. If you have any sort of like scalp issues or dry hair, I promise you it will change your lives. Go look them up. It's amazing. As well as a big lover of Kate Somerville's Exfoliate, which again, super fast, great for your skin, takes off that layer, you'll feel super soft, and those are sort of 2 of my go-tos right now.
And that came in FabFitFun, the
Yes, it
winter
did.
box.
Yes, it did.
Use code Natch. So we want to be kind people. Everyone's always saying be kind, but we have to be kind to ourselves. Natch, Beaut, I only promote cruelty-free brands, and I'm always saying don't be cruel to yourself either. And there's just a few basic things. I know it's easier said than done, but hear me out. Sleep. And I know a lot of us are mothers. It's hard to get sleep for various reasons. Why? Maybe hone in on why you're not getting sleep and try to correct that. That is the most self-care you can do for yourself, is to get a good night's rest. Maybe you need a new mattress. Casper mattress, use code Natch. Maybe, you know, you drink too much coffee during the day. Maybe wean it off a little bit. I'm telling you, we need rest, especially mothers, especially women. We need to rest. Hydration. I know we always say drink water, drink water. Drink water. Up the water game. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to hydrate that bod. Sunscreen. I'm so happy that you brought up sunscreen. Everyone should be wearing it every day. It's preventative. And I feel like a lot of people don't wear it. Nobody told me. My mom used to tan in the tanny bed.
Especially, a lot of black women don't wear sunscreen because in the black community, we say black don't crack. So we don't believe that we have to do anything. We're like, it's fine, we won't wrinkle, but it's a lie. We do need sunscreen. I just needed to
I'm very happy.
do that PSA.
Yes,
we need sunscreen. The UV rays are damaging.
Yes.
Skin cancer is real.
It's real.
It is.
Reality, right? It's not just for beauty. There is a huge health
life.
benefit by
Right, it's
putting
for
that
life.
SPF on every morning.
Right.
And also, not just when it's sunny, it does not matter. When the clouds are out, the sunscreen is still on.
Ooh, there's a great brand called Unsun. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't.
So it's actually started, and I wish I knew her name offhand, but Frank Ocean's mom started the company. So it's an independent female company, and she started it for women of color because a lot of sunscreens have like a cast to it.
Yeah.
And she wanted everyone to get great skincare, great sun protection. So everybody look up Unsun and get that sunscreen on. Like I said, everybody wear the sunscreen. And the last thing I was gonna say is, at the end of the day, take off the makeup. Take off, even if you don't wear makeup, cleanse because there's stuff floating in the air. Your sunscreen, you gotta wash that off. So really cleanse. I don't care how tired, how drunk, how stoned, whatever state you live in. Work it into your routine. Sometimes I'm a damn mess and I'm going, but I get in that
Makeup
bathroom
wipes. Makeup wipes.
and I get that makeup off and I do my cleanse and I do my exfoliate and I do my eye cream. I never scrimp on that eye cream. So those are my things. Get sleep, hydrate, sunscreen, and clean the face at night.
You never sleep with makeup. Oh, that's my pet
But
peeve.
some people do, and I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm a damn mess, and I wash my face at night. Everybody can.
Well, no, and if you are the kind of person that doesn't want to take the time, like, things have changed. There is innovations in beauty. You actually don't even have to turn on your sink. There are plenty of makeup wipes that you just pull out of your drawer and you can take your makeup off in like less than 30 seconds.
I'm just gonna share with you guys like so I agree with everything you said, especially sleep and water. But the thing that I've been implementing as a major part of my self-care is affirmations. It's literally waking up, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I am enough, I am beautiful, I am smart, whatever it is that you feel like you need to work on, I can take on the day, and that's improved like my productivity, the way I think about myself, tenfold. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and then we're wrapping up, so I want to give you guys in the audience an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. All right. Sorry, 1 second. We're gonna bring you the mic.
Thank you. I went home and I visited my aunt, and she had her two grandbabies. One is 3 and one is 4. They're both mixed. The 4-year-old has really long hair, and the 3-year-old has shorter hair. And immediately when she saw me, I had actually just washed my hair that morning before I flew in, and it was a little rough. But immediately when she saw me, she was like, "What's wrong with your hair?"
Which one?
The 3-year-old.
That has the long hair.
The 3-year-old has a short hair.
Okay.
And I was like, well, how's your day? Okay. This is how smart she is, though. So the next day, I usually wet my hair in the shower, and then I put moisturizer on it when I get out. So she was watching me do my hair, and she was like, "Your hair is short." And I was like, "Your hair is short." So I get to arguing with a 3-year-old, right?
Oh, God.
And then, so she tries to explain how her hair's not short, da 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 da. So just to fast forward, like, this is how smart she is. The next day, she was like, "I like your hair." Mm-hmm. Of course you do. But she was just so kind of obsessed with my hair. And she was like, "Well, you should do your hair like Belle's, Beauty and the Beast Belle." And I wanted to say, what I said was, I don't look like Belle, honey. This is how God made me. So from a distance, in my head, I'm like, I have got to help these children, both of them. But I don't know exactly what I can do from a distance to encourage 2 little mixed girls she has hair just like mine, to embrace their own hair. Because in that conversation, she was like, straight long hair is beautiful. And I didn't have the time or the energy really to put into her right then. But I feel like if this is a problem at 3, it ain't gonna get better if I don't step in, because.
Yeah, I would say and that's a really good question, but consistency is key. And for me, when my kids were a little younger, I actually did the Dow test. Are you guys familiar with the Dow test at all? So it was on, I think, some news channel where they did an experiment with little kids, and they put baby dolls of different ethnicities. Like they had a really dark doll with super short, kinkier hair, and then it just ranged all the way up into a Caucasian doll. And they would ask the children like, so which doll do you think is pretty, and which doll do you think is ugly? And it really tells you a lot about like kids, like where their mindset and what they find as beautiful. And I did that with my kids, and I was actually happy to see that they really didn't have no definitive like standard of beauty. Like I think my 8-year-old, she picked out like a tan girl, and I forgot but I asked her, I said, what do you find that's beautiful on this doll? And I think she said, I like her hair, because my little one's really into hair, just like her mom. So she was like, I like how her hair is styled. And then I asked my oldest daughter, I said, well, what do you think is beautiful when the one that she picked out? And she liked her outfit or something like that. So just being consistent with them and just instilling in them, and it's easier now because they're so young. So you just have to keep reiterating to them like, you're beautiful, accept you for how God made you. Because even my 8-year-old, she still goes back and forth with me sometimes, because like I said earlier, when I have my hair straight, she wants her hair straight, because she thinks that when mommy straightens her hair, it's because I'm straightening it to be prettier. So I have to just redirect her. So you have to do a lot of redirecting with kids that young, and telling them like, no, just because mommy's straightening her hair doesn't mean that it's prettier. I'm just doing a different hairstyle because I like to be like, not a stylist, but I like to just experiment with different styles. I'm into like fashion and beauty, like that's what we do, not because it's a standard of beauty. So you just have to redirect her and let her know like, God made you he made you with curly hair because he liked you with curly hair. And guess what? All your little friends at school, they want your hair. So, and that's what I tell my kids. So just a lot of redirection and just instilling in them, being consistent and telling them that God made you who he made you to be, not what you see somebody else to be.
And I'm just going to add on to that before we move on to our next question. It's about exposure. So make sure if she's looking at Princess Belle, make sure she's also looking at Princess Tiana. Let her see that there are tons of princesses out there. There's Princess Esmeralda. We all look different, and so my intuition is telling me that she's been only exposed to one sort of beauty. And so you want to make sure that she has that diverse lens.
Yeah, I forgot to add that too. And that's key too, because I really want to make sure that my girls have diversity. Because I grew up with just really African Americans and Hispanics, so I really didn't get exposed to that. So I try to make sure that my girls travel with me. They go to hair shows, so they see all different types of beauties.
Okay. We probably only have 2 more questions, so 1 and 2. Okay.
Okay. So this is speaking on kind of insecurities and what I think is kind of like this internalized misogyny that we carry with us, even as conscious women, even as women that want to empower other women. And so often I see like, we want what we don't have, and so very similar to you, Monique, I grew up really being shamed for being a skinny woman. I always felt underweight. I would look in the mirror and see a skeleton. And as I approach, age 30, it's something that is still subtly there. I'm still breaking down. Like, I don't feel like a woman because I don't have a booty. I don't feel like a woman because I can't fit into clothes. I don't have childbearing hips or whatever it is, And I can't count how many times so subtly, very conscious women have still kind of shamed me. Do you even eat? Or like, oh, you need to go eat a hamburger. It's like, so often said. And then, I come from a biracial family in northern Michigan. And so I have 4 black sisters, and for a long time in northern Michigan, they were the only black people that would be seen at the mall. And women would come up to them and just like touch their hair and be like, oh, I love your hair, I love your curly hair, or, oh, is that real hair? And even though they thought they were admiring or complimenting them, so often it would bring them to a really self-conscious place or feeling inferior. How do we as women invite the conversation and hold other women accountable for the language we're using with each other, and also create a safe space to admire each other's differences? that's not shameful?
I'm gonna take that because I've found myself like biting my tongue. Like I oftentimes take that uncomfortability and I swallow it. But I think we have to stop doing that. If someone touches your hair and you don't like that, let them know, and you don't have to do it in a disrespectful way, but also let them know how it makes you feel. Because oftentimes, like if they don't understand your perspective, then they don't know why it's wrong, you know? So if you then use it as a moment to educate, then that will make it a lot easier to move the progress forward and move the conversation forward, where it's like, you know what? I didn't like you wanting to touch my hair because for years, you know, I've been told that my hair is ugly or too kinky or too nappy or too something or not enough of this. So I think any woman who has any sort of compassion can relate to, you know, not feeling like you are your best self. And so when you actually open that door of conversation, then we can actually, you know, converse on that next level, on that next plane.
I think that's such a wonderful answer, and I would even expand upon it because I think sometimes, you know, when you're in the moment and, you know, for whatever reason, you're feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling shamed, it really is hard to speak up.
Yep.
But the reality is, if you're there with your friend, your coworker, you have the power to start that conversation as well. And, you know, it's not just beauty, it's like, traditionally in the workplace, you know, we see that women's ideas are not always heard, and there may be a male counterpart, for example, who then says that same idea, and suddenly that idea is, you know, heard and recognized and admired. And I think we as women have to do a much better job at making sure that we are elevating each other's voices. And, you know, really, you know, it's on us to help bring that conversation to the forefront.
Yeah, we have to be allies to one another.
Exactly.
Our final question.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories today. And how are each of you, using your platforms for the, what is it called, Facetune or whatever it is? Meaning, I have the empathy of the youth and looking at the magazines, and still I have that in my 40s of that magazine, and it's always going to be a generational thing. But now for this generation, dealing with the lies of the Instagrams or whatnot, how are you using your platforms to express to young women, men, gender fluid people as people the threat of that, or just the concern of that lack of authenticity, and how important it is to just know who we are as blank slates, essentially?
Yeah, at the Lip Bar we do it. So our entire reason for existing is to challenge that beauty standard. So it's to challenge that idea that beauty looks like one thing. So through our imagery, through our products that we produce, everything is fighting the idea that beauty looks like one particular thing. So if you look at the images that we have up, that's not typical for you to see in a beauty campaign. Right now, it's very popular to be woke or to be diverse because people see that it's a moneymaker. But when I started the company in 2012, it was unheard of to see a really dark-skinned woman with no hair with a bold lip on. And so we would do trade shows. We do a ton of trade shows. That's actually how I met Monique. And we would have women of darker complexions come to our booth, and we would try to show them like this red that I have on, for instance. And they would tell us like, no, I can't wear red. My grandma told me I was too dark to wear red. Or I can't wear a pink lip. Like my lips are too big to have, you know, on this bold color lip. And so like everything that we do is really just to show a different perspective on what beauty is. And we just have that candid conversation. So I'm now at the forefront of the brand saying things like, yes, I own a beauty brand, but I'm not makeup obsessed, you know, so I think it's really just having those conversations and then having conversations like this. I think I'm going to be the only person to be able to answer the question because I'm getting flagged in the corner. So, so I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope you guys have taken away a little bit from each of our amazing panelists. And I want to thank you guys for sharing your stories and your perspective on the beauty industry and how we're going to challenge the status quo.
Will you end by telling us what highlight you're wearing?
Yes,
Don't we all want to know?
I am wearing Becca Topaz. Yep. I love it, and it's cracked up. I've had it for 9 months, and it's literally in crumbles, and I still wear it, but I refuse to buy it until I'm done with the crumbles.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having
Yes,
us.
thank you so much.
Thank you.